Hello students, this is your English lesson. In this lesson we are going to read a poem, The Pobble Who Has No Toes by Edward Lear. Students, The Pobble Who Has No Toes is a short poem by Edward Lear. The summary of the poem is that the Pobble fails to keep his nose warm and loses his toes, which is what his mother told him would happen. Reveals how the Pobble came to lose his toes and what happened afterwards. Let's read the poem together to know what happens to the Pobble. The Pobble who has no toes had once as many as we. When they said, "Someday you may lose them all," he replied, "Fish fiddle-dee-dee." And his aunt Jobiska made him drink lavender water tinged with pink, for she said, "The word is Janel knows there is nothing so good for a Pobble's toes." The Pobble who has no toes swam across the Bristol Channel, but before he set out he wrapped his nose in a piece of scarlet flannel, for his aunt Jobiska said no harm can come to his toes if his nose is warm. And it's perfectly known that a Pobble's toes are safe, provided he minds his nose. The Pobble swam fast and well, and when boats or ships came near him, he tinkledy, winkled a bell, so that all the world could hear him, and all the sailors and admirals cried when they saw him nearing the further side, "He has gone to fish for his Aunt Jobiska's runcible cat with crimson whiskers." But before he touched the shore of the Bristol Channel, a sea green purpose carried away his wrapper of scarlet flannel, and when he came to observe his feet, firmly garnished with toes so neat, his face at once became forlorn on perceiving that all his toes were gone. And nobody ever knew from that dark day to the present whose had taken the Pobble's toes in a manner so far from pleasant, whether the shrimps or crawfish grey or crafty mermaids stole them away. Nobody knew and nobody knows how the Pobble was robbed of his twice 5 toes. The Pobble who has no toes was placed in a friendly bark, and they rowed him back and carried him up to his Aunt Jobiska's park, and she made him a feast at his earnest wish of eggs and buttercups fried with fish. And she said, "It's a fact, the whole world knows that Pobbles are happier without their toes." Edward Lear was an English artist, illustrator, musician, author, and poet, now known mostly for his literary nonsense in poetry and prose, and especially in his limericks, a form he popularized. His principal areas of work as an artist were threefold: as a draftsman, employed to illustrate birds and animals, making color drawing during his journeys, which he worked later, sometimes as plates for his travel books, as a minor illustrator of Alfred Lord Tennyson's poems. As an author, he is known principally for his popular nonsense collections of poems, songs, short stories, botanical drawings, recipes, and alphabets. He also composed and published 12 musical settings of Tennyson's poetry. The lesson we learn from the poem The Pobble Who Has No Toes by Edward Lear is that we should take care of the important things in our lives. In the beginning, the poet introduces us to a young Pobble who is very proud of his toes. His aunt Jobiska warns him that Pobbles often lose their toes by the time they mature. She tells him that his toes have a chance of salvation if he keeps his nose warm. The Pobble henceforth wears a red flannel scarf on his huge nose. He decided to go for a swim one day. His scarf is stolen by a dolphin before he swims to the opposite shore. When he gets out of the water, he discovers his toes have vanished. As the Pobble mourns his lost toes, he is flabbergasted and contemplates on which creature of the deep may have taken them: a crawfish, a shrimp, a mermaid. It's a story about properly taking care of one's things, learning to let go of things that are really not all that important, being obsessed with material things, accepting one's body image, about growing up and becoming an adult, the inevitable things that may happen, fear of loss. Now come to the exercises. Understanding the poem. Answer the following questions. A. What suggestions does the poet make about the manner in which the Pobble lost his toes? Answer. Lear suggests that the Pobble's toes may have been carried away by shrimps, crawfish, or crafty mermaids. How they disappeared is anybody's guess. B. What did Aunt Jobiska do for the Pobble? Answer. Aunt Jobiska made the Pobble drink lavender water tinged with pink, gets him to warm his nose in a piece of scarlet flannel, and then sends him off to a swim the Bristol Channel to find her runcible cat with crimson whiskers. Answer the following questions with reference to context. For his Aunt Jobiska said no harm can come to his toes if his nose is warm. A. When did Aunt Jobiska say this? Answer. Aunt Jobiska said this after he set off across the Bristol Channel. B. What did the Pobble do in taking this advice? Answer. Before the Pobble set out, he wrapped his nose in a piece of scarlet flannel. C. Do you think the advice helped the Pobble in any way? Answer. No, he lost his toes anyway. B. Working with words. Make a list of the silly words and ideas in the poem. Answer. Pobble without toes. Fish fiddle-dee-dee. Wrapped his nose in a scarlet flannel. Tinkledy, binkledy. Winkled, runcible cat, crimson whiskers. Eggs and buttercups fried with fish. 2. What do the following people do to get these names? Poacher. Captures animals unlawfully on someone else's property. Magistrate. A civil officer who administers law. Philanthropist. One who loves people, who exerts himself on behalf of his fellows. Biographer. A person who writes about the lives of others. Dramatist. A person who writes plays. Martyr. One who undergoes death or suffering for any great cause. Bursar. A person who looks after the money matters of a college or school. Traitor. One who acts disloyally to his country, king, or himself. Escapologist. A person who makes a living from escaping from bonds of various kinds. Philatelist. A person who collects stamps. Caterer. A person who provides food for others. Tinker. A person who mends pots and pans. Rewrite the sentences using one of the words from the list in place of the italicized words in the sentences. A. The mouse in the trap squeaked. Let me out. B. Get out of here, yelled the angry lady. C. He won't give me another cake, moaned the little boy. D. Where have you been? Thundered the giant angrily. E. I am the king of the jungle, roared the lion. F. We are lost, wailed the tearful woman. G. The large policeman bellowed at the boys across the field. H. Help me, screamed the man who was hurt. J. Quick, pass the ball, cried the boy to his teammate. J. We have won the match, the children whooped. Pick out the verbs in these sentences and say whether they are transitive or intransitive. A. The workers constructed a bridge over the river. Constructed, transitive object. B. The horses ran forward. Ran, intransitive. C. Pull the rope, please. Pull, transitive. Object, the rope. D. The children played happily. Played, intransitive. E. He put the packet on the table. Put, transitive. Object, packet. F. The engine ran very smoothly. Ran, intransitive. G. Kabir writes poetry. Writes, transitive. Object, poetry. H. He writes every day. Writes, intransitive. Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.